Content creation is more of a self-development journey than it is a path to financial freedom. However, the self-development journey where you're collecting little nuggets that help you develop as a self, as a person, will be accrued in the self-development bank account, which then is required for your financial freedom. Or at least we all hope, right? I don't think it's nothing to do with hope. I think it's tried and true. And everybody that has made it to any kind of path of financial freedom through the path, rather, they have done a tremendous amount of self-development on the way. Oftentimes, most of that journey we have not seen. We only see the end results, okay? We don't see the cooks in the back of the kitchen. We just see the front waiter, staff, and the finished product. You know? So we often forget to understand how much work goes into something. That's part of the journey. That's the small, little, intricate details. That's one of the very minute details when it all comes together. But scratch all that. The real topic of the video here that I want to get to is why content creation is such a fabulous tool to bettering yourself. Because for one thing, it'll teach you resilience. If you do it with the intent of just finding your flow state within creating the content, you're not making your number one priority monetization from AdSense revenue. That's a losing game, I feel like, because you don't really make much on that, and you have to be in a certain niche to even make a certain amount, but you also have to be good enough and have enough of a following for them to even give a damn, and you have to have that credibility for them to, because if you're not in the finance niche, it's not worth it. And then you have to be good enough to stand out. You have to have a certain amount of value that people can, gravitate to and utilize. And if you don't, you're in a red ocean of competition. It's not really a blue ocean strategy. And I'm actually talking about creating your own blue ocean. There's that book called The Blue Ocean Strategy when it comes to business. So that really correlates to the niche of you. There's a lot of conflicting information online at what people say. They say you are the niche. Stop trying to find a niche. And some people say, no, you got to be hyper specific about your niche. You got to have a sub niche. And I think if you waste a lot of time trying to figure that out and just, I guess, be one-dimensional with a sub niche and dominating in that angle, which you can find your sub niche through trial and error is what I'm trying to say. And this is the reason why you need to kind of get your hands dirty. It's probably impossible to identify your sub niche without even putting any work in. If you don't put the work in first, nobody's going to really know. I mean, you can try it. You can say, okay, I'm interested in this. Maybe I can blend it with that. Cal Newport, one of my favorite authors, had said, in regards to your passion, people are so worried about trying to find their passion, and they just waste so much time looking for their passion, and they stay so lost and confused on that topic of looking for their passion. And really, you should do something, do anything. And then while you are doing the thing, you look for what's called the adjacent possible. So oftentimes when you start to do something, your mind will go to work on its own as to what could be done or what you could potentially be passionate about. The mind likes to find things to be passionate about within the work that it does. So when you start doing something, anything, you can't just sit there and think all day. You have to do something. And while you're in the process of doing something, anything, you often find what it is. You find what you're passionate about, you find what your sub niche could be, but you really got to get going, man. You got to get moving. Because if you don't get moving, stagnation happens. Stagnation station. That is the enemy of progress. One thing that I've been doing is every single day, there is something to work on. Every day there's something to work on. Like, as long as you know what you're working on in the morning when you wake up, and you put in an hour or two on that, and then after you get out of work, you put in another hour or two, you're making those incremental steps toward that passionate sub niche. Because I think that's like the biggest thing for people, is trying to identify what their niche is. And they feel so lost that they don't even start anything because they can't do the first thing, which is the niche. So I really think that content creation is one of the best ways to find that niche, because while you're creating content, you're recording content, and you look back on it, you kind of see the themes of what's going on, what you like to talk about, the things that you're learning. Because oftentimes, really, you just talk about the things that you're learning, and something comes out of it, Something often flourishes out of it. And I think everybody should write a book. I know not a lot. There's quite a few people that probably don't really care and don't want to write a book, which I don't blame you. But yeah, I mean, if you have an hour or two a day, why not? Why not do it? My videos are not perfect, and I really don't want them to be. I just want to be able to look back on the content that I've made, see the progress that I've made, learn things from looking back on the content that I've made, and improve on everything that I can possibly improve on. It's just a simple formula. Record, which is basically practice, review, and iterate. It's a real simple 3-step formula. The self-development journey prepares you for the path to financial freedom. And we often underestimate what it takes to do anything worthwhile. So that's why I want to record a video for today. And I don't mean to sound like I'm yelling, but I'm just in a weird mood because I got, a little kombucha here, and sometimes a song comes on that sounds too loud, and I'm like, come on, man. Can we not do this right now? Can we not do this right now? Anyway. I think a lot of times it's all about how you perceive something. It really boils down to that. Because a lot of the times, people's mindset is really stemmed off of their perception of what is happening within life. When we try to, there's a lot of people like me that are trying to get things done because they have a specific goal in mind that they want to get to. And what happens is a lot of hindrances will be thrown in your path, sort of like a test. And that test is something that needs to be overcome. Because one thing you got to realize is nothing is easy for anybody. no matter what. And if you do attain the goal, it's not easy to keep it there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've reached goals to where I was like, okay, the next goal is to maintain this. And actually, that could be harder than even attaining it in the first place. So that's one thing that you get distracted by while you're driving and multitasking and recording a video. That's sort of what life is like if you think about it. Life is like driving DoorDash, recording a video, becoming distracted by people on the road that are driving really strange in front of me, all at the same time. And then on top of that, it's beginning to rain. So, that's life, buddy. Life will throw it at you. And what you gotta do is just be in love with it, dude. These roads are super bumpy, and I got this thing hanging to record the video. So let's just try to do this. I mean, of course these videos are not perfect, and they're kind of just off the whim type of thing. And it's experimental. I usually get into that flow while I'm driving around. So I say, why not record a video, right? Why not record my videos while I'm in the flow? You know? I gotta start working out again. Oh man, let's just get into the flow. I mean, all right, so the topic of the video, I mean, this thing is not so unorganized. I really apologize for this video. I really gotta apologize. This video is like, but my main point, really, just like, instead of focusing on the end goal and the financial freedom and the location independence and, you know, working on your laptop from Bali somewhere, instead of like locking in on that only, because I've done that for years, trust me. Like, the thing to do would be to focus on the journey itself. And if, whether it's a content creation journey or whatever kind of journey you choose, that should be the funnest part. You should have the most fun on the journey. You know, as you can see, I'm just trying to, like, this is kind of like a brain dump. Like, if you ever don't know what to record or anything, if you want to do content creation, sometimes you just do a live brain dump. Sometimes you might find something within there. And what I gotta start doing is going live and doing this. Just recording a brain dump live. Might get a couple people in there to say certain things. Maybe they have a question. And then you can kind of get a feel for where people are at, really. Of course, people will chime in to try to troll. That's one thing that they love to do on live when I see people going live. It comes with the territory, if you ask me. That's just what, you know, that's kind of the allure of going live. Is some people, the reason why you kind of get more traffic that way is because they can kind of troll you live, and it's exhilarating for them. But also, some people rather interact with you live. You know, I don't know if it's a good idea to record videos while I'm doing this, because I get kind of distracted, you know? If I'm talking on the phone or doing anything like that, I'm not looking where I'm going. I pass the street. Anyways, that's all irrelevant. Let's get back to the fucking topic. And I'm not gonna swear in my videos anymore. See that shit bouncing around? Gotta secure my joint, man. Ooh, I'm getting a little too, I'm gonna have to stop this, guys.